We have not been paid by GlintPay for conducting this interview. We do have a referral code with Glint. If you'd like to open a Glint account, it's Mario Glint 79. Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today is Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, and I have the pleasure of speaking with the CEO and founder of GlintPay, Jason Couzens. Welcome, Jason. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, Mario. Thanks for inviting me on the show again.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I think it is great that you come on again because there's been a lot of interest in my channel in the last month or so, a lot of new subscribers. So a lot of the new viewers don't know about GlintPay, and it would be great if you could tell them a little bit about GlintPay.
Yeah, sure. So GlintPay is, it was the first company in the world to enable physical gold stored in a vault in Switzerland to be used as money. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give people around the world an equal opportunity to prosper by protecting them from the depreciating purchasing power of our national currencies and protecting them from the systemic risk that's in the financial system. So with the Glint app, which you download from any of your app stores, Apple or Google app stores, then you can register within a few minutes. Doesn't take long. And I think about 70 or 80% of our customers get approved automatically using our systems. And then once you're in the app, you can buy once you transfer some funds in, you can transfer between currencies because, well, in the US you can't, but in the rest of the world you can go between euros, pounds, and dollars. But the unique thing is that with the gold, you can buy gold. You can buy as little as 1 cent or 1 penny's worth of gold. You can buy millions of dollars of gold. And we send you a card. I've got one here. So a little debit card, which we send you to Glint MasterCard. And you can link that into one of the wallets that you've got on the platform, your dollar account or your gold account. And you can spend it anywhere where MasterCard's accepted, anywhere in the world. You can buy coffee, a present for somebody, or for a product or service that you've been given, which is great. We're giving that gold the unprecedented liquidity that we want to have our own private money, our own personal gold standard, so to speak. And we've also introduced recently, just the end of last year, Glint It, which is the ability to send gold from one Glint account to another. So I can send, and have done, a little bit of gold to Mario, and he can send me some, and we can send it to each other. It's building effectively a gold-based alternative payments network. That's available in over 200 countries now, and it's coming to the US hopefully soon. The card isn't available to everybody in the world. You can issue that in the moment in certain countries, but not everywhere.
Yeah, and what's the minimum you can send with the Glinted?
No minimum. 1 cent, no minimum. One penny. What that 0.00 something one of a gram. I mean, tiny amounts.
Yeah, and it's also there's no how can I say? It's fast as well. It's like sending a text, right?
Yeah, it's instantaneous. It's as easy as, the idea was to be able to send gold from one person to another as easy as sending a text or an email. All you need is for the person you're sending gold to tell you what the email address is that they use for their registration of their Glint account. So yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yes, preparing for this interview, I thought about something I read the other day about the Bank of Amsterdam, which was a bank created, a public bank. It wasn't private, in Amsterdam in 1609, because back then a lot of gold and silver, different coins from all around the world circulated in Holland. And there was a problem with liquidity because people had to weigh the coins. They had to see the purity of the coins. So it slowed down the flow of commerce. And so the Bank of Amsterdam was created to take all those deposits, and basically not standardize the coins, but weigh the coins, look at the purity, and then publish what they had, and then the banknotes that came out of the Bank of Amsterdam basically acted like a currency. Of course, it wasn't digital like Glint Pay. I think, for example, Glint Pay is the modern version of the Bank of Amsterdam, but instead of being with paper, it is digital. What do you think about that comparison?
Yeah, I mean, with the Bank of Amsterdam, did they allow the customer golden coins to be lent out at all?
No, it was just purely a deposit bank.
Yeah, well, that's
I
the
think there were a few exceptions that they lent to the Dutch government, but it was rare, I think.
Yeah, I mean, with the gold that you have with Glint, it's allocated to you. It's legally, you have legal title to it, and so it's not lent out. We're not allowed to. We can't do that by law. It's completely, it's 100% reserve. Effectively, it's your gold, and so yeah, it is similar in a way. I suppose we're the modern day digital version of that Bank of Amsterdam. We certainly, though, wouldn't be lending it to any governments.
Good. And I guess the peer-to-peer function, or Glinted, compared to cryptocurrencies, especially like Bitcoin, it seems to be a lot faster and it costs a lot less because the fees for Bitcoin, they haven't gone up in terms of Bitcoin, but in terms of fiat, they've gone through the roof.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think, look, we have some similar vision and mission to the cryptocurrency world, especially around Bitcoin. We both want an independent form of money. We both want to, have money that doesn't depreciate over time. So a lot of the qualities around Bitcoin have been modeled off gold. Of course, gold is the ultimate store of wealth in terms of being proven over time. There's no comparison. Gold wins hands down with that. But because money, to be good money, has to be trusted, doesn't it? It has to have stood the test of time. But there are some other challenges which the Bitcoin industry needs to try and to solve if they're to ever even get close to it being considered as a real currency. I think the first hurdle really would be around its anonymity. It's one of its strengths, of course, for that community, see it very much as a strength. But of course, they're up then against governments of this world, and Janet Yellen has already come out very clearly and said that, it needs to be curtailed. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin needs to be curtailed because of the use of it for financial crime. Andrew Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England, has already come out and said lots of negative things around it, especially around its volatility. So I think that the anonymity creates problems for the Bitcoin community, and the pressure for countries to ban its use, although very difficult to do, it could be curtailed by controls around exchanges. But I think another thing is that the ownership of cryptocurrencies is, Bitcoin is 2% or something like that own 95%, 2% of the wallets own 95% of the Bitcoin value. That's what I've heard reported by some researchers. And, even with gold, even the central banks only own 17% of the world's gold. So we don't have that problem. And of course, you've mentioned this thing about fees. In December, I think the average fee to have a transaction confirmed by the miners was $7.29. So you can't exactly be using it as a everyday currency if every time you want to use it, it's going to cost you that much. So it's kind of working for traders, but not as a currency. You touched on another thing. Our transactions have to happen within 200 milliseconds. We have a service level agreement, for instance, with our card, with MasterCard. So we've built a very fast, scalable system, and which doesn't use, of course, the huge amounts of energy which Bitcoin uses. I think it's been estimated that it takes up the amount of energy that a country with 200 million people in it, which is about 3 times what the UK population is. So Cambridge University have calculated that. So, and then when you finalize it with the volatility that we've seen with Bitcoin, where it's going, huge jumps, between 75 and 125%. With gold, it's ranges between 8 and 20. So, yeah, I think with Glint, I sometimes hear people online talking in interviews like this and saying, well, gold, the best store of value, obviously, but you can't use it to pay for things. And you can, you can with Glint, you can. And I think, if you out there, if the listeners are interested in, encouraging real sound money to take hold, then please do spread the word.
Yes, and I remember Bitcoin years ago. That was one of the selling point, that you could circumvent the banks, and the transfer charges would be a lot lower. But now they say, oh, it's not a currency anymore. It's just a store of value. They've changed the goalpost. The other point I would make about Glint is that yes, there are some people who prefer to have physical gold. I mean, with Glint, you do have physical gold, and it's in a private vault in Switzerland. It's insured. It's allocated in your name. I personally do have a Glint card, and I do keep some gold on my Glint card. But I think it depends on people's preference. I don't think Jason is saying put all your gold with us. I think it's just very convenient, and you can switch around. And there's another argument about Bitcoin, that you can go anywhere around the world and carry millions of dollars in your digital wallet. You could do the same thing with Glint. So you go to another country, you carry your gold, or you could put it in fiat, and then you can spend it with your MasterCard.
Yeah, and you can spend it within the MasterCard. It won't take. I mean, I think back in 2017, 2018, when Bitcoin was getting very popular, the confirmation times were taking over a week. Hours with your MasterCard, you can buy something. I buy things all the time. I buy everything with my gold, and whether it's in Tokyo or London or US or at 35,000 feet in the air on a plane. It's great. I mean, there's a great feeling when you're paying with gold. But I agree. Everyone should have a little bit of gold at home too. I don't want my gold stolen from me. I don't, so that's why I hold most of mine in the vault with Glint. By the way, the vault isn't run by us. It's run by the biggest precious metals custodian in the world, which is Brinks. So they're very good at what they do. And I know I can feel confident that it's there. It's not going anywhere, and it's not going to get stolen. And even if there was some great gold robbery, it's insured. There's insurance covering it from Lloyd's of London.
I see, and I know Glint is not a service where you go and you buy your gold and take delivery. It's not designed as that. No, but you do give people the option to redeem the gold.
Yeah, of course. We do. And, there are gold bars there in the vault. And if the amount of gold you have matches, the size of the gold, the gold bars are in the vault. If you've got a kilo, you can have a kilo sent to you from anywhere in the world. We'll obviously have to charge you the shipping fees. And if you have a smaller amount, if say you have just 100 grams worth or something, then you just have to pay the fabrication and delivery fee, and we'll get that sent to you. It's a little bit laborious at the moment, so you have to go through a bit of a process and email client services, and we aim this year to try and get that put into the apps and make that easier, so you can just select the size of the denomination of the gold bar that you want to use, and then see what the fees are and have it delivered to you. So you have to have a bit of patience with us. Our first problem we're trying to solve is making gold money, and although we do allow for redemption, we're going to make that process better over the next year or so.
Great. And could you tell the viewers the fees, for example, for buying gold? Let's say you deposit some pounds or dollars in your app, and then you want to switch it to gold, how much that is, and also when they use their card for fiat or gold, how much it costs, and if there's any storage fees for the gold.
Sure. So you've got your app and you see your wallets, and you've got maybe your pound or dollar wallet and your gold wallet. Maybe you've both got funds in both of those. You can easily swap between them. When you exchange between them, between any currency, we charge 0.5%. That's our fee. The rate you're getting is the wholesale market rate, which is very, very efficient. So we're not we're not stuffing that spread with any extra hidden fees or anything like that, which you might see at the airport, for instance. It says, free FX, and yet they fill the spread full of all their fees.
Yeah.
I think
Your spread is as wide as the Queen Mary.
I think the advertising watchdog needs to have a look at those companies. But so 0.5%. And when you use the card in your currency of residence, if you pay for things with gold in your currency of residence, so I'm in London right now, and so that's pounds for me. If I was living in New York, it'd be dollars. If I'm using my gold like that, then I don't pay any fee at all. So in effect, we're selling your gold at that point to give, because the merchant isn't accepting gold with a card. He would be if he was using Glinted, but with the card, he's not. So in real time, we're converting that gold into fiat currency. That's what he gets. The merchant gets his fiat currency, but we're not actually charging anything for that. So I think what we wanted to do is to make the process frictionless spending gold. That is, we wanted to make it much more comparable to, say, if I was buying some Thai baht and traveling to Thailand, I wouldn't have to then pay again once I was in Thailand. So that's the philosophy we've got around that. But if I travel abroad, so if I travel to Thailand and I pay with gold, then you do pay 0.5% for us to convert that gold into Thai baht, into the merchants, the currency of the merchant, which is in that case Thai baht. So I hope I've not complicated matters there. It's actually quite simple. 0.5% between currencies, including gold, and 0.5% when you spend any of those currencies abroad, and 0% fee, no fees at all when you spend your gold in your currency of residence. There is a 0.125% very small custody and vaulting and insurance fee. We've actually been on a holiday since we launched, so at the moment that has been free for everybody. We will be reintroducing that this year. If you were to withdraw, redeem your gold at an ATM, for instance, there is a fee for that. In the US, it's $1.50. In the UK, it's £1.50, and in Europe, it's €1.50. So yeah, it's there's no fee from us to transfer funds into the account, but sometimes banks will charge you to transfer money into someone else's account, and that differs around the world. But again, in the UK it should be free, in the US it should be free. Sometimes with cards, the card company will charge you, but we're working on evolving the platform so we can try and make that as easy, smooth, and cheap as possible for you.
I see. Could you, because we have a lot of viewers from Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, and I know they can download the Glint app, but they can't still get the card. Could you tell them how long maybe that it will be until they get the card in those countries?
So they can download the app now. Of course, all of your viewers can download it anywhere in the world, and you can. Actually, in Europe, there's a stay of execution in Europe at the moment because of Brexit. We had our plans in place for Brexit, but unfortunately, the company we were looking to partner with, from a regulatory umbrella perspective, went spectacularly bust last year with a $2 or $3 billion hole in their finances. So we had to fall back to a plan B, which is taking a little bit longer to get sorted out. So we don't have a smooth Brexit transition as we'd hoped. What does it practically mean for continental people on the continent? What it means is that for the time being, you can't open a Glint account, but it's a temporary. We expect this to be resolved in the next 1 to 2 months.
What was the problem with the Brexit transition? Wasn't it a Wirecard?
Yeah, it was Wirecard. They were the darling of German fintech. They were a MasterCard issuer across Europe. And our plan B for a hard Brexit was to work with Wirecard to issue our cards to continental residents. Unfortunately, their auditors seem to have missed $2 or $3 billion worth of money, and the company went bust. But you can download the app, and you can fund. Once you're approved, you can fund that account with your local currency. And then, if you're in New Zealand or you're in any of those countries where we don't have wallets, and it gets converted automatically into pounds, and then you can buy gold with it on the app very easily. As I've just described before, you can then send it to other people using Glinted. And but yes, we can't issue a card yet. we will be looking to new regions for the card, but there's a lot of infrastructure, a lot of work needed to integrate into the different MasterCard regions around the world. So at the moment, we're technically integrated in a few of them. And I can't say when we'll be live in New Zealand or Canada, but we're ambitious. We want a global-based payment system here. Glint, of course, gives us that, but we'd like to be able to give everybody the convenience of using the MasterCard, because like it or not, we are in a world with an incumbent financial system, aren't we? And we felt that having the convenience with the MasterCard was a killer app, so to speak. It was a killer bit of functionality, and that's certainly the response and the feedback we get from our customers who tend to love it.
Great. Yeah, what about silver? Because we've seen in the last couple of weeks a lot of interest in silver, and I know Glint doesn't provide a silver service, and you've said in the past that you want to focus on gold, but do you see silver as being something you could look into, especially with the popularity of silver?
Yeah, always been asked about it, but again, I see gold as the ultimate form of money. I don't personally see a need for silver as money. I heard the other day that the amount that gets mined every year is about 20% of its, of the amount of silver in the world gets mined every year. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's one of the reasons why I don't see it. It might be one of the reasons why it's not being considered the ultimate form of money, which I see gold as. Gold doesn't tarnish. You can leave it there in the ground forever, and it'll still be there. I mean, it's why it has always been the ultimate. It's why central banks use it as the ultimate money. So philosophically, I think that there's not a need for it for us. But I can see why people want it, the convenience of it, because a lot of our customers who are buying gold also buy silver. Could we put it on? Of course we could. It'd be quite simple for us to put silver on our platform. The jury's out. A lot of our customers are asking for it. We'll have to have a think about it a bit more.
That's fine. What about a lot of people ask about, for example, if they have some fiat currency, let's say in the UK or in the US with Glint, whether that fiat currency is protected by the FDIC in the US or the FSCS in the UK. Could you explain to the viewers exactly how it works through the Glint app?
Yeah, so it's really important for us that we're friends with the regulators, because we want to be here for a long time, and we can't see a world where personally I don't want to be in conflict with them. So we comply with, of course, all of the regulations around the holding of e-money, as it's called. So when you transfer your funds into Glint, if you're in the US, they get stored in an FDIC account with a MasterCard premium issuer. That FDIC insurance is up to $250,000, as are all kind of FDIC insured accounts in the US. In the rest of the world, the money goes into a tier 1 bank in the UK. That's Lloyd's, actually. It's in a segregated and safeguarded account. So that money is safeguarded and segregated and safeguarded, not just from Glint, but from Lloyd's itself. And so there is no financial service, there's no insurance. I get mixed up with financial services compensation scheme. We're not part of that, because you see, your money in the bank, a normal bank account, a current account, needs to have that insurance, because the bank is lending that money out. It's putting it at risk. This was the big thing that I learned back in 2008 as I was watching people queuing outside of Northern Rock, that every time you put your money in that current account, it's being lent out, it's being put at risk, and there might not be enough to go around. But with the segregated and safeguarded account at Glint, that money is safeguarded, it's segregated from us and the bank, so there's no need for the insurance.
Oh, I see. So that's actually a very good thing.
It's a common misconception. Oh, Glint's money isn't, the money in Glint isn't covered by it. There's a reason why they don't cover it. I mean, the FCA are there to look after the best interests of people in the UK and anybody who deposits money there. And of course, they want to make sure everything's okay. But there's no need for that with Glint.
Yeah, could you tell us how Glint is coping with the situation in the last 12 months with the lockdowns, if it has changed the business, or if you guys have, adapted quite easily?
Yeah, it was quite interesting actually, because in December last year, so it's December 2019 now, we actually conducted our kind of own version of our war games, and we decided that let's all work at home for a week, and of course we were already set up to do that. We have online cloud-based systems and stuff that allow us to do that very securely as well, with encrypted pipes into our platforms and stuff. So we'd already done that. So when the pandemic started to break out, we went into our own distributed lockdown 2 weeks, I think, before everybody else in the UK. And it's great, like a duck to water. Everyone's adapted really, really well to that. There's a lot of interest obviously in gold, so the business has been very good. We saw big increases in the amount of business we had at the beginning of last year, March, April, May, June, and that interest obviously has been maintained. I think there's some big issues around everybody working from home all the time. It's not all rosy, is it? A lot of people like mixing with other people, or like mixing with their work colleagues, and there's a certain amount of communication that always gets lost, whether it's in an email or some form of digital communication, even on video. I don't see how you walked in the room or how you leave the room, your body language, and there's lots of problems there as well, I think. And I think although the pandemic has definitely changed things, I think for good, I think it has accelerated the adoption of technology incredibly far, to a massive degree. I think we will be looking forward to having people back in groups again. But actually, I think that's another interesting point about the pandemic and its position as a catalyst in the world. And I think the amount of change that we're going to see in this world is going to be quite incredible. I think it's going to be like a Cambrian moment explosion, like akin to the Industrial Revolution or the printing press. We all thought that was going to happen when the internet was created, and to a degree it did. The massive industries have been transformed, but I think we're about to go through another step change now. I think we're about to move gear, and that's going to do two things. It's going to create a lot of opportunity for people who are prepared and open-minded and willing to change and adopt to the new technologies. But it's also going to create a huge amount of disruption to businesses and to the economy as well. And I think that when you're not sure what's going to be happening next year or this year or the future, what the future holds for you, I'm just talking about kind of social change driven by technology, whether it's kind of robotics or virtual reality or biotech, or there's all so much stuff that's going to be changing. You add that in the geopolitical issues with China making all kinds of very aggressive moves against Taiwan and against actually fighting on the border with India, with the dynamic between the Biden administration and the Middle East and how that theater is going to change. You combine it with all this technological change, and the fact that even with the virus, I can't see it actually going away. It's something we're going to have to learn to live with. So with all that uncertainty, I think gold really shines. Because it's something we can rely on. That's the one thing that won't be changing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And is there anything you'd like to talk about that Glint is working on for the future that we haven't spoken about before?
Look, I think what we've worked up until now is the fundamentals, getting the foundation right. Can I safely, securely buy physical gold? Can I use it as money in the incumbent financial system? Can I now use it as money outside of the financial system? So just using our GlintIt technology and being able to send it to each other. That's been our big mission. I think the team have done a fantastic job in getting there. A lot of people have attempted and failed to do what we've done, and we've got it working across a lot of regions. I think the focus and the theme for 2021 is to make it the user experience, as smooth as possible. Getting funds into the account. How can we make it easier to do that? Once you're in the account, how can we make it more engaging, more useful, easier to use? I mean, little things which are quite big is that, you know, there's no charts in the app at the moment, but there will be very soon. You know, how can we improve the app in terms of that engagement? Really, the fundamentals are done, you know, and we've got a lot of customers now. I think over 70,000 registered users. We've had many more downloads. So it's all about engagement and use and kind of starting to build and make bank-like type functionalities into the product as well. Can I pay my bills with this? Can I pay my utility bill with gold? Can I receive money easily from somebody else? That type of thing.
Yeah, you were telling me before the interview that you're looking at business accounts as well. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of requests from people who want business accounts open. You can see recently the news from Tesla. I don't know if you saw that the other day. Of course, the thing that grabbed the headline was the $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin that Tesla bought. But actually, you should look at what actually the board was giving permission for the company to do. The board gave permission for the company to convert its cash into Bitcoin or gold. And you know, Bitcoin stole the headline, but gold is there, and I'm sure they wouldn't have been given permission unless they were intending on using it. So it's great to see. You know, obviously corporations have had permission, you know, often buy gold. It's not just a new thing. They already have. But can we effectively enable Glint to be a good treasury management solution for businesses? It's, you know, Glint's a great tool for managing currency risk. It's a great tool to be able to, you know, convert some, you know, the money on your balance sheet into gold. And I think the interesting thing is that businesses need liquidity, don't they? They don't want to be able to put it somewhere they can't get it back very quickly. You know, this is a moving beast, a business. It has a lot of moving parts. And so Glint can help with diversifying away from national currencies, protecting you from the depreciating purchasing power of that. You know, businesses are not protected in the same way consumer customers are. You know, if you're a company, you know, and you don't have any more than an individual when it comes to the amount of money that's insured by the government. Nevertheless, needless to say, the other legislation that's come in that might suggest that there's bail-ins rather than bailouts next time. So how do businesses who are profitable, that do have money on their balance sheet, how do they protect that? I think Glint can really help people do that. They can help manage their their staff expenses through issuing multiple cards to users. I mean, there's a huge amount of functionality and benefits that we can offer businesses. So yeah, that's something that's going to be coming soon this year.
Yeah, I remember during the Cyprus crisis, when banks collapsed in Cyprus, that a lot of small, medium-sized businesses had over 100,000 euros in their accounts. They lost all that money.
I know. Shocking.
So that was the big bail-in.
Yeah, and for what? You know, you know, you're not even getting. You know, you're lucky if you get any interest at all on your account. You know, say you get 0.5%, so you're already in negative interest territory with the Bank of England even warning of negative interest rates to banks the other week. You know, the only way to get any higher interest is to, you know, put your money into a fixed or untouchable account that's locked in for 12 months. And that's not very good for businesses or people. And of course, what are you doing? You're putting your money at risk. So I can see why there's a very strong move now by individuals and businesses away from their fiat currencies and the banks into alternatives such as gold.
Great, Jason. Before we finish, could you tell the viewers where they can get the Glint app?
Yeah, sure. You can do it right now. You can just, if you're watching this on the phone, or just get your phone out and go to your local app store. Just search for Glint Pay on the Apple Store or the Google App Store, your favorite app store, and download the app. It takes just a few seconds. And then, of course, the registration process is quite seamless. We need some personal information off you because we need to check your identity. Part of our regulations, we're a regulated entity. We need to make sure that we know who you are. But once you've done that, it doesn't take long. As I said, maybe 70-80% of you will get approved automatically. And even the rest of you, you just need to supply us with some additional information. So please do. If you've been listening, you like the idea of it. If you're a Glint customer already, please do tell your friends, because if you want a sound money system, a bottom-up return to sound money, because we can't rely on our governments to give it to us, then we need this to get to scale. So please do share information about what we're trying to do. And if you've got any good ideas or points, or do tell us, please email us. And we're very, very happy we're very, very pleased to get feedback on what we're doing.
So Jason, thank you very much. I wish you a great rest of the day, and I'm sure we're going to be speaking again soon.
Great to speak to you again, Mario. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Bye.